All right, this is the part that I'm actually excited about today, the part that I actually want to do. I'm gonna continue to do, oh Jesus, sorry, I just slammed my hand on the desk. I'm gonna continue to do programming, but this time with some pep in my step, because it's actually a project that is not just some dumb college bullshit. So, I'm going to begin this by coming in here. I'm going to begin by reviewing the assets that I was sent, right, by our wonderful artist. Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Tell me that this doesn't have. Hold on. Tell me that this doesn't have shit ton charm to it. The artist that I'm working with on this is very talented, and I want to give them a shout out because honestly, I'm not good at that, right? How do I do shout outs in this thing? Do I just say that? Is that like a global command, or am I being stupid? No, I think it's just a chatbot command. Okay, so it's not a thing that you can just do. Or maybe it is and I just did it wrong. I think it is and I just did it wrong. Alright, can I delete messages? No? Never mind. Whatever. Shit, I really thought it was just that command. Okay, I'm just gonna do it from here then. Wait. Oh, it's not a... It's probably some shit that you have to install, isn't it? Yep, it's not... Okay, I'm gonna Google this. I should have done this before then. Wait, what do you mean? I mean, the command is different. Hold on. Alright. Yeah, that's how it... Yeah, there you go. That's how you fucking do it. Jesus. Okay, I've seen everybody else use the other command. I assume that they probably installed that with one of the mod bots so that they wouldn't have to type strawberry or rather shout out every time. Anyway, yeah, artist. That's the person who did the art for this, and they're really good at art and really just they draw with so much charm, and it's great. I love it. Like, look at this guy. This is our main character. This is our main guy. He doesn't have a name yet. We haven't decided on one. But yeah. Yeah. So these are just placeholder assets. We're gonna have like better ones that are better animated later. But for now, we have this, and these are the little hands, right? The body as they're walking, you know that sort of thing. So we just have them. They're not complete animations, but that's fine because what I needed from this was just enough stuff so that I could begin programming the animation components that are going to be controlling all this, and then we can actually go and do the animations the way that they're supposed to be when we have like more of an idea of the actions that are going to be available in the game. So let's just begin by importing all these assets. I'm gonna put them here. And that's it, right? All right. Sorry, I was just checking something. Yeah, so we have these assets now imported in here. I should probably make sure that this isn't called just this, but it's actually called player. It has to re-import everything. Right. Right. So we have the body as it walks, we have for an idle, we have the body, for the hold, we have the hand, we actually have the hand. For the grab, we have... Ah, shit, can I see? We have grab A, grab C, grab C. Ah, for the hand, yeah, left hand and right hand. Left hand and right hand. For normal grab, yes. Can I see that example again? Ah, charge grab, then grab. Charge attack, then attack. Idle walk, hold. Oh, hold walk, okay. Oh, these are the same hands, but these two are the same body. Okay, that actually helps. Okay. And we have grab, hold. And for the attack, yeah, we have all this stuff separated, which is exactly what I need. Thank you. This is actually very good. Okay. So first, we're gonna have to just begin implementing the animation part of this player, right? The player has lots of moving parts, and it should be possible. It should be like pretty doable, actually. So we have this player. Right now, this is just what it is. It's just a little sprite. But that is soon to change. Oh yeah, also another thing. I have to show off the things that I did off stream. So let's begin by doing that, yeah. So yeah, I don't remember where I was last stream necessarily, but I did... Shit, actually, yeah, what did I do off stream? Right, I started working on the other kinds of things. So I had this, right? The abilities that you can use so long as you have them held. That one was a hover, this one is a double jump, right? I have these, the abilities that change your parameters of movement, right? So long as you have them held. So this one makes you heavier, this one makes you faster, right? Also a bit more slippery. And then I made these other two. So these are abilities that take effect on you as soon as you grab them, and they are in two types. Well, actually, that one over there is just a dummy. That one does nothing. It's just an item you can grab. These come in two types. You have this one, which makes you, just gives you an impulse up as soon as you grab it, and then it has no effect after. And you have this one, which does the same thing, but it gets consumed when you do. So now it's just a normal blank ability, right? This one you can keep using endlessly. This one just became a normal object, right? And the idea is you can mix and match them. So if I wanted an item that affects your physics while you're holding it, but also gives you an extra ability that you can use, I can do that, right? Or one that gives you something that does an effect on you when it is grabbed, but then also gives you a special ability, right? I can do that. So you can mix and match them. You can have basically one of each. One instantaneous effect, one physics difference, movement parameters affecting thing, and one extra ability. And if I want to give you multiple extra abilities, I guess I could, but I haven't programmed that yet. And I don't think I would want that anyway, right? So that's what I did while I was off stream. So just so you're up to date on how this project is going on, right? So now we actually do the animations. I'm pretty excited for this because that's what's going to take this from looking like shit to looking slightly less like shit. Right, so first things first, let's go with idle. We have an idle animation, we can just do that. So the way that this is going to work, the player is going to need somebody who handles animations, right? And that should be a new node that should be a animation player. We don't need an animation tree, I don't think. I hope not, because I don't want to have to learn how to use these here. I know how to use the Unity ones, I don't know how to use the ones in Godot. I should learn, but, you know, until the need is pressing, I won't. So yeah, so we have this component that is an animation player. And then this guy is going to... good question, actually. Ah, fuck, my back is itching so much. Hold on, give me a second. I just gotta scratch it. I've been trying to scratch it for a while talking, and it's not... It's pretty deep. It's pretty out of reach. Okay. Right. So, first thing would be, just as a default sprite, let's give this guy the... Where's the sprite? It's inside the flipper, right? So this, instead of giving you this as a texture, we're gonna give you something a bit more decent. We're gonna give you a image texture. Ooh. And in this image, we're going to be putting idle. Yeah, that's what we want. Idle body. And that's huge. That's very big. But we can just scale it like 1. Let's make it 0.5. Probably a bit smaller than that. Yeah, like it should be bigger than our collision, but it should be smaller than... something like this, right? Actually, we're going to have to adjust collisions quite a bit. Let's make it so that this is 0.25. This seems like a reasonable size. And then what we're going to do is have it so that the collision is... Right. There's a couple things we have to do. First of all, this cylinder, we might not need it anymore. I'm going to put it here. This is basically ground level, right? And this is just for it to cast a shadow. It really isn't a necessary component, but it just lets me see where things are better in the environment, right? So this is just a debug thing. It's not going to be part of the end design. Then we need the collision shape to be a bit different. We need it to be... Let's see. We need it to be... First of all, it shouldn't be a box. It should probably be a capsule or a cylinder. It needs to touch the ground, so it needs to be like, you know, it needs to be like right here, right? Or right here, actually. Shit. Probably here. Let's put it here for now. And it also needs to be a bit smaller than the guy actually looks. Just for game design reasons, that gives you more permissiveness in how the game feels. So it's gonna be like this size, right? And just as very preliminary, let's also move this help display a bit up so that it's above our guy. And then let's just very preliminary see how that looks. Doesn't look bad. I mean, it doesn't animate, obviously, but doesn't look bad, just on its face. Okay, so this is our guy right now. This is its idle body. Then we're gonna have, we're gonna need 2 hands. So what should this look like? Let me open this. Right, so this is the idle, right? It looks like this, and the hands are just sort of splayed out. Right. Only one hand is going to actually be the physical thing. The other is just decoration. So what we need is for there to be a secondary hand sprite that's just doing its own thing, right? And yeah, and where are the hands? This is the hand detection area. It's this. Yeah, so what we need then is for there to be one player hand and the second player hand. And so we move the hand anchor point, the hand doesn't move yet, and that's because that only happens through script. So what we need is this player hand has a sprite. We need to change that sprite to the idle hand L. And we also need to copy the scale from the player so that they're at a consistent scale. So if this is 0.25, then this should also be 0.25. Scale 0.25. And that puts this hand here. Now, obviously, this is not where the hand should go. Also, this hand should display above the player, like on top of the player always, basically. The way that we do that is... How do we do it? Oh, okay, so it's definitely this, but I need to know what's the render order. How to modify the render order. Okay, let's see. If this is 1, then the hand should always show on top regardless of everything else, right? Yeah, okay, excellent. So then we have this, and then we have to make sure that this hand anchor point and the hands are both moved to the same spot, which should be... Now hold on a minute. This very much does not look like the example image that I was given. Yeah, the hands should be way bigger. What's going on here? Scale is 0.25, which is what it should be. And you... Are you a different scale? 1. And you're 0.5. Okay, that's an issue. I'll make you 1. There you go, that's the size that it should be. That might affect other things, but we'll see about that later. Okay, so the hands should be like around here. It seems like it's fine. I'm gonna have to consult on with strawberry later, but right now this feels like fine, right? Issue is this does make the collision bigger, but we'll just have to live with that, I guess. And this is hand 1. Hand 2 is going to have to be behind the player, right? Hand 2 is just a visual affair. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna call this player active hand. And we're gonna create another, and this is just going to be a sprite 3D. Actually, hold on. Thinking. Because the other hand is going to have to move, isn't it? Right. So the idea is this hand now follows that point, and if I move that point, then the hand is going to move with. I need this hand to just sort of be independent over that point, so that it can move when it needs to, and it can be away from that point. So that the player animator is just worrying about this point, and then the hand knows when to follow it and when to not. So, yeah, given that that's the way that it works. Given that that's how it works, it would need another hand. Yeah, it would need another hand, and the hand would have to be another element. It needs to work similar to this station. Yeah, okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create, yeah, I'm going to do it like that. I'm going to create a new resource, and this is going to be this is actually quite tricky. How do I do this? Ah, crap. Okay, Jesus, I'm really having paralysis here. This is why I don't code for more than 2 hours at a time, man. Which is pathetic, by the way. That's a really low, really low standard to have for your own coding. I wouldn't survive in an actual workplace. Okay, so yeah. How? I would need another hand, right? Another hand that works very similarly to this. But does it need a state machine and everything? No, because it's just following the other hand's state machine, right? But then it would be so messy if that one held a reference to this, right? So then wouldn't it be better if that offhand existed inside of here as a separate sprite 3D? So, like, main hand, and then I had like a copy it as a sibling. This is the offhand, right? And then all that animation is handled through the main hand. So then here I add that and I add this, right? And then all I have to do is have another position, another anchor point. So right? And then here in the player, I create this anchor point. So off and anchor point. And I have to tell the hands, hey, this is the anchor point for that separate other hand. So this player hands. And this is, hey, your anchor point for the offhand is this one. And so I put this anchor point like around here. Like, sure, why not? And make its rotation transform. Rotation like 0, just to sort of test it. Put it here. And then this offhand, I have to make sure that this offhand has the Z flag, the render priority of -1. -1, yes. So the offhand on -1, the player on 1 on 0, the on-hand on +1. So it's like this. And then the offhand is always going to be behind. And then see, the problem is I need to be able to see this on the go because otherwise animating is going to be impossible. So I'm going to code a tool script that is going to help me with that. So we're going to create a new node. Yeah, a new node. This is just a normal node. This is the hand positioner while on. Yeah, we're gonna call it the debug, not debug, the hand positioner while the editor hand positioner, and literally all this guy is going to do is while we are on the editor, it's going to position the hands to those anchor points, and you know, it's going to stop doing it when we're on the actual runtime. And that lets us actually animate those parameters without it being a problem. So scripts, tool scripts, editor hand positioner, do it there, create class name editor and positioner. And now I'm going to have to remember how to do tool scripts. It's fine because I have an example here of another that I made. So yeah, first of all, I gotta tell it that it is at tool. It is at tool, and then yeah, if engine is editor on the process, so process. If engine is editor hint, then do the thing, otherwise do not, right? So if we're in the editor, then do it. And so what you're going to do is you're going to need a couple of references. You're going to need to know who the main hand is, which is of type sprite 3D. You're going to need to know who the offhand is. Hold on. No, the one that follows the main hand is not the sprite, it is the area. Which is an issue because it makes it so that the offhand will be a child of it, so its position is going to be always relative. And let's just do it like that and assume that it's going to work, and then if it doesn't, we can worry about it. So this is the player hands. Player hands. And then the main hand, the offhand is just the sprite 3D. And then we're going to need... No, we don't need to export anymore, because the main hand has the markers. So if marker, yeah, if main hand point would it be anchor point? Just anchor point? Yeah, if the main hand's anchor point is not null, then move the main hand to that position. So main hand point global position equals anchor point global position, and main hand point rotation. It should be global rotation, right? Global rotation equals anchor point global rotation. Except it's not anchor point, it's main hand point anchor point. So anchor point in the main hand, right? And then we're going to do a similar thing, but this time for off hand anchor point, like that. And then we close this. And we close this again. And we gotta make sure that on the player hands, actually we can fix that so that it stops throwing that error every single frame as well. So if main hand is null, return. And then we can just do all that again. So now we have on the test scene, on the player, and on the player hands. And on the player hands, we have to set that up. So this has to know that your main hand is this, and that your off hand is this. And now that should apply to the player. So then that makes it so that so that it doesn't work. What? What's the main hand anchor point though? The main hand anchor point should be hand's anchor point, which is here. So why is it moving over there? Yeah. Offhand anchor point. Yeah, so offhand anchor point is moving the offhand, which is what I want. But why is the main hand moving there? Oh, because I'm dumb. That's why. Yeah. It's the offhand that should move and rotate. There you go. Now it works. Okay. So now the idea is, right? That was a lot of trouble, a lot of fussing with shit. But now the idea is, I can move this main hand and this offhand by moving these anchor points. And what that gives me is the freedom to animate these anchor points, but then have the hand if they decide to move away from them. So the hands decide whether they're going to follow the anchor points, but the animator only bothers itself with the anchor points themselves. Right? Does that make sense? Basically, I'm giving the hands the freedom to just move away when they need to, and the animator will not have to be bothered by that, right? So, with that in place, let's see what happens if I try to play the C. Right. So I don't know what's going on with the offhand, why the offhand is not showing now. Yeah, him bong makes sense. Yeah, right, it makes sense. The hand does shoot forward in the exact way that it should, so it works. It looks ugly right now because I have to adjust a bunch of things, but right now it works. What's with the offhand though? Why is the offhand not showing up? What's going on with you? Yeah, whatever. Just not using delta. Right. So. Okay, so the offhand is not showing up. Oh, right, yeah, because this is a tool script. This only happens when I'm off the editor. I haven't yet made the behavior for that follow to happen during the game. And that's because I don't want it to follow it that closely. I want it to follow it with a lerp so that it has that effect where like they just kind of follow you rather than just sticking to where they should be. So it's essentially the same as what I already did for the lerp, my beloved. I know, right? This shit's magic. It's basically what I already did for the main hand, the one that actually has all the collisions, but except for the offhand now. So this and moving this, which I haven't made a reference for yet. Yeah, I have to do that. At export variable of and sprite 3D, and then assign that like that, and then I'm gonna make sure that wherever I am using the anchor point, I also use the offhand anchor point. So here offhand sprite point global position equals global position. Nope. Offhand sprite point global position point lerp. There's probably a better way to. Once said lerp is sexy in a friend's chat, after which he proceeded to say, you know what's sexier? Tweens, and Google Tweens, which comes up with Prieto. yeah, no, that would be a problem. See, the thing is, I'm so code pilled and, you know, code maxing, programmer pilled in my GD script era, right? That when you said tweens, I didn't even think of that. I was just thinking of like tweens, like animation tweens, right? So That's a win for me. Mark 1 for the not a pedophile column. Actually, it's called hemophilia. It's different, okay? I didn't even know him in pre-adolescence. Yeah, no. To be fair, I've heard the term. It's kind of an old term, isn't it? It's kind of like, for some reason, I associate with like early 2000s and stuff. 2 offhand anchor point. Point global position. Yes, point global position. I should probably move this into enough functions just so that I don't have this big ass line. Idle lerp. Yeah, it's the same. Idle lerp strength. And that should be enough, at least for the idle behavior. I've just heard preteen. Yeah, okay, it does work. It does something weird, though. Like, the main hand works fine, but the offhand moves weird. And I think I know why that is. Is that when the entire hand flips... Yeah, offhand looks a little funky. Yeah, I know why that is. It's because the offhand is a child of the main hand, right? So when the main hand flips, the offhand does not stay in place. Rather, it stays in place, but that's relative to the main hand, which is this guy, not this, right? It's not the sprite. So if the main hand is here, and the offhand is here, and the main hand flips, then the offhand is no longer here, but rather all the way to the other side. So there's a way to fix that that would make sense, but instead of doing that, I'm going to actually modify the flipper to account for that. So... because basically, I would have had to have forethought this, and now to fix that, I would need to modify the hierarchy so that the offhand is outside, but then that means that I have to do a bunch of references and change a bunch of the reference tree in order for it to make sense, and I don't want to do all that. So instead, I'm going to have it so that the copy flipper, so the guy who's in charge of flipping the hand, making sense, why would you want to do that? Yeah, we're programmers, we do things a little bit differently. Yeah. So the copy flipper is a thing that makes it so that the sprites flip. And the reason I have this is because I need them to flip on separate conditions. So this copy flipper is a type of flipper that copies from a different flipper. Smash buttons until it works is how I do it. I mean, could be worse. You could be asking Copilot, like Microsoft has been doing lately, just absolutely fucking everything up. Did you see that, by the way, about the task manager, where if you close the task manager, it instead opens another task manager process? Like if you press the X to close it, it opens another. You open the task manager to save you from another process that's doing something weird, and then it just makes more. It keeps cloning them, and you can't close them ever. You just can't. It's amazing. Microsoft sure is a company. Okay, so this copy flipper is flipping the sprites, and I wanted to, because this guy is in charge of flipping the sprites, it's the perfect guy to know to throw an exception. So what this guy is going to do is, when it flips a sprite, it is going to have a sprite that it is, or not a sprite, a node that it is export variable exception node, and this is a type of node 3D. And so the idea is this node is going to be kept in its global place even when the rest of the sprite is being flipped. So this exception node is going to be when the sprite is flipped, it's not opposite. Hold on, what is this? Oh, yeah, that's part of the parent class, right? That's what it is. Okay, so when you do this, you current facing equals inruns facing right. Actually, I don't remember what the base class was like. But facing. New phasing equals current phasing. Me when I don't put comments in my code and don't remember what anything does. Yeah, it always does you in, right? If to be copied, yeah, if we don't have a flipper to be copying, then return. That's fine. If not opposite. Oh yeah, this is if opposite of the thing to be copied. Okay. If not opposite, then flip to facing the same. Otherwise, flip to the other one. Okay. That part's easy. Crouch type shit, sprint type shit. I mean, at least you put comments, man. I don't. What I usually do is instead I give my variables long ass names. So like if I can't think of a concise way to put it, I'll just put it in 20 words, right? Right, okay. So before this happens, we're going to take we're going to record the global position of the exception node. So if the exception node, the node that doesn't have to move, doesn't equal null, then we're going to have a variable that is the recorded position, the exception node's initial position, and that is a type vector 3. So we're going to record that position. So the exception node's initial position is going to be equal to the exception node's global position, because we want the global position. Then we do all of our flipping bullshit. And then when we're done with that, we're going to return to this exception node if exception node exists at all. Then we're going to return it its initial position. So its global position that it is now changed because we just flipped everything is going to be equal to the recorded position. And so essentially it's going to remain in place. Variable for interacting with orange square when jumping on it. I mean, honestly, yeah, camel case, my beloved. I mean, yeah, but you know, this is one of those cases. I like camel case more as well, but this is one of those cases where it's like when in Rome, right? Everybody in Godot does it like this, so it's better to get used to it. Camel case I always use for variable Pascal for nodes. Fuck! So that didn't work. Oh yeah, no, it's because I made the behavior, but I didn't actually tell it that what was the exception. Okay, the exception node is the offhand. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, okay, that works. And if I want to adjust the position, I just do it on the player by moving these anchor points. So like, you know, if I move this like over here, I don't know why I would want to do this, but if I do it, it just works. One thing though, it doesn't seem to be taking into account the rotation, which seems to be an issue. What's up with that? I may have forgotten to do that in here. Yeah. That's easy. Hell yeah, nice, thank you. Global rotation equals I can lerp rotations, right? That's not like it would have to be a slurp, but you can do it, right? 2, yeah, okay, it just works. Anchor point global rotation. Is my keyboard running out of battery? Rotation delta times idle lerp strength and anchor point. I gotta go now, but I hope progress goes smooth. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for dropping by the way. It's nice to have people. anchor point. There we go. And the other one is just basically the same. So just this, but it's global rotation, and it's global rotation, and it's not lerp, but it's slurp, and the rest is just and global rotation here as well. Rotation. All right, there we go. And that should work it, right? Oh Jesus! Why is it going crazy? Oh God! What? Why is that happening? Hold on. Let me zoom in because you need to see this a bit better. Where's it? Yeah, this. I'm gonna create a copy of this, and I'm going to do this and this. Okay. Why? Something is wrong with his hand. Help him. Oh, everything's fine. Oh no, what's going on? Everything's fine. What the hell? Oh, that's so weird. Let's see. What's going on here? I mean, I get a good idea of what this may be actually. And I don't really... Oh, wrong one. And I don't really think it's something that I can just... I think it's just that the way that Godot handles rotations, it's quaternions obviously, but it's also a three-sided 3x3 matrix, and I think that doesn't play well when you reflect it. There's some math mumbo jumbo here that I don't know how to deal with. Like, I think it's that scaling it on the z-axis is equivalent to, or in one of the three axes, scaling it is equivalent to actually rotating it 90 degrees and then scaling it on the y-axis. And so that doesn't play well with some other shit. I mean, I'm just spitballing here from half-remembered stuff. There's some math reason why that is happening, is my point. Ah, that's frustrating. I'm gonna have to make another different case for when it's facing the other way, and I don't know how to do that. I don't even know how to even begin with this, actually. Like, what even is the issue? Maybe there's something in the documentation for Slurp that's going to help me. Hold on. Why is this only happening to the offhand? Or rather, is this only happening to the offhand? It is. So that is odd. That's odd. But the main head is also not quite following the rotation that I wanted to, so maybe... Oh, because they should be global. Global rotation equals global rotation point. Left. Hmm. Should be the same. Like, if a bug is affecting only one of them, then it should be affecting both. I'm really puzzled by this, actually. Like, to begin with, it's an issue that I don't know how to fix, but I don't know why it's only showing up for one of the arms, and the other seems to be ignoring the rotation entirely, and I don't know why. Global rotation of the player hands equals the global rotation of this slurp. Well, actually... Yeah, the normal hand is not... Normal hand is not going the way that it should be. It's not being rotated. Like, you see now it's facing left, and now it's facing left still. Like, the anchor point is being flipped. So this should be flipped too. And why? What are you talking about? What are you complaining about? I don't get it. With a non-uniform scale, this node will probably not function as expected. Please make its scale uniform, the same on all axes. What do you mean? This is the same on all axes. It's 1, 1, 1. Is this not the same on all axes? 1, 1, 1. Why? Huh? Is it like one of them is like 1.00? What the fuck? Well, I'm gonna have to Google this, because honestly I have no idea why you could be complaining about this. Configuration warning. Yes, it's yeah, but that's not okay. Is that if I do this? Okay, sure, but it's still showing the warning, so let me save it. What even happened there? Okay, that had nothing to do with the issue, but it just was a separate issue that just appeared out of nowhere. And programming is weird. Okay. So, let's just try this again. Okay, so we have two separate issues going on. First of all, obviously the right hand is going very crazy. But second of all, the left hand is just not rotating at all. Even though here on the player, no, on the player hands, this global rotation is being modified to match the anchor point. So let's just print the global rotation each time this happens. And see if that number is the same every single frame. And if it is, then we know that this calculation is just somehow being the same result every time. I think I have an idea of what it might be. And I don't like it. Hmm? Hmm? Don't get it. I just don't get it. Is the anchor point just not rotating as I think that it is? I don't get this. I don't get this at all. Yeah, I just simply don't get this. Okay, let's make testing a little bit easier for myself by not giving the player the path. That's fine. You know what? Never mind. The global rotation barely changes. The global rotation barely changes of the path of the snapper of the marker. And so that would seem to imply that would seem to imply that any rotation that's a result of changing your scale Z is not a real rotation. Which means that in order to actually do this following, we would need to... Yeah, I can test this, actually. I can test this. If I go to the player, right, and let's move this hand back to where it kind of should be. Right? If I take this player and I have this hand rotated like this, and say that this anchor point changes its scale to 0.-1. So -1. No, hold on, what? So it does affect the rotation. The scale does affect the rotation, so that's not the issue then. Cause yeah, because this is just like on the tool script, it's only chasing... Oh, what the hell? It's only chasing position and rotation, so if the scale is changing that means that the rotation is calculated on the scale as well. So when the scale is modified, and that would result in a different rotation from the global perspective, then that is calculated. So then, if the global rotation of the... Actually, are you following global? Global, 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 global. 8 globals. So then this should work. Not the one that's going crazy, that's whatever, we can fix that later. The other one that's not doing anything should do the thing that it needs. I'm so confused. This is unusual. I don't usually get this level of confusion. It's kind of bewildering. I feel like most of this stream has just been me staring at this specific bit of code and not saying anything, just because I'm so bewildered, so I'm besides myself. I really... What the hell? Okay, let's test this by making sure that you are chasing the rotations properly and that it's not my slurp calculation that's wrong, right? So instead of doing slurp, just immediately snap to the correct rotation. But why isn't it facing the way that I want it to face? Because, see, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go onto the player and give these anchor points, give them a little bit of help. It's going to have a sprite. It's going to be a sprite 3D, and the texture is going to be a gradient. 2D gradient, yes, and the gradient is going to be from red like that, and then we're gonna make it the and then the sprite we're gonna make the render priority, we're gonna make it like 1,000 or something, and then we're gonna rotate this sprite so that it's facing the way that I think the fist should be facing. Right, like that. Right. Okay. So you're seeing this, right? Like the red arrow, the red gradient is facing the right way, like red towards the tip of the fist, and then when I flip it, it's red towards where the tip of the fist should be. For some reason, the tip of the fist is not actually going that way though, even though on this script I've told it to make its global rotation the anchor point's global rotation. So what that would tell me is that if the global rotation, because it, see, look at it here. If I set the flippable's z scale to -1, oh yeah, no, that's the y to -1. No, not the y, the x scale to -1. Right, everything flips, and the gloves are not flipping. And the gloves are not flipping. Why are the gloves not flipping? Why? What? I. Do I have to? The more I think about this, okay. I am multiplying the y scale of this by -1, and that is flipping the spray 3D in the way that I expect, where it is flipping it that way, right? Pointing the red the other side. But the glove is actually rotating around what I perceive to be the x-axis. Now, the glove should not be moving at all unless its position or rotation of the anchor point is being affected. So it has to be that internally the rotation is calculated by the scale as well. But if so, it is being calculated wrong, because it should rotate in exactly the same way that I see, if that's the case. Or I'm misunderstanding the math behind this very, very badly. Do I have to copy the scale as well? I'm scared to do it. Partly because these scales are not 1-to-1. These are 0.25. There's also 0.25. So I'd have to do it by the sign of the scale. Or no, because it's global rotation, so it shouldn't matter if it has a parent. Global position, global, yeah, it's all global, so it shouldn't matter. So then it should be and but this one divided by 4 because it's 0.25. And then that okay, but dude, why is the other one moving now? That fixed the one that I was looking at, and then the other one is now doing some weird shit. Is there a global scale variable? Oh god, how do I get the global scale? Global transform basis get scale. No, what? What? Okay, before I try any further, let's see what this does. Right, because I only modified the tool script, it's not gonna ever make a difference in here. But there's no way this is gonna work. I mean, what the actual fuck? But why is it not working here? Even this, which worked? And what do you mean minus is now breaking it? How? What? What? I don't know. I just don't know. I'm so confused. Because I shouldn't be playing with scales. Because it seems to only ever work on 2 axes at a time. That's weird. And why did it work here but not there? Like, why did it work on the tool script but not on the player hand script? Right, like this. Because the hands correctly move to the position that I want them to. For some reason the rotation is just all out of whack. As soon as I introduce that, it all goes bananas. Right. So let's work with just the position for now on. Or for now. And then consider the rotations when I understand this issue a little bit better. This bit works, right? Like the hands just move where they need to go. They're just not rotated how they need to be. They're keeping their normal rotation, right? They're not taking anything into account. The sprite is flipped. Which way is the sprite flipped anyway? Because I have a flipper on the sprite. This guy. Well, how is this guy flipping the sprite? This guy's flipping the sprite by changing the scale point. It is perhaps the case then that we don't need to flip the sprite. Rather, say, I take off this sprite flipper, and then the player, I take it and I do the rotation on the player hands. So something like this. And then you can tell that I'm really bewildered by this, by how I'm not saying much. Yeah, so the sprites are not being flipped anymore, but the rotations are also not being correctly copied. These anchor points are not being rotated. They're being flipped. They're being put on the other side, but they're not being rotated. Did I mess up and didn't? No, it's the global rotation. So see, that is odd because the flipper is changing its scale. Which does not affect the rotation as I think it does. Yeah, that's what it is. So the flipper shouldn't work by changing the scale. The flipper should work by rotating 180 degrees on the y-axis, which visually is the same, but not mathematically. It's visually the same because I'm working with flat sprites that are, 2D and look the same from both sides. So So there. So now the flipper works not by changing the scale on the x-axis to -1, but rather by rotating the object 180 degrees. Okay. So the hands are now chasing the correct position, which is great. Awesome. Except for that they're doing that now, which I don't want them to. Why are they doing that anyway? Why even are they doing that? And to begin with, why is the front hand rotated so weirdly? It's not following the rotation I wanted to. It's not. It's not. Why is it not? Why? Why? It's look at it. It's rotated like weirdly up. Your scales are 111. Your scales are 111. Your scales are 0.25, which is basically the same. They're all positive is the point. Yours are all positive. Yours are all positive. Yours are also all positive. Yours are all positive. So why is this hand not following? It was doing it fine just a little bit before. But you see, it's not following the rotation that it should be. And yet it is when I'm on the tool script. Right, the tool script is doing it fine. If I rotate this, it just works, right? Like if I point it down, and now it's still following that, which I assume is rotation 0, 0, 0. Yeah, that's just rotation. Hold on, let me check it here. Yeah, that's just... No, it's not. It's like this. Excuse me, sir? What rotation do you think you're following? Oh, it's following its own rotation, that's why. It should be... of hand spread global position. Of hand anchor point. Okay, ooh, that was an easy fix. Okay, now to the other issue. Why are they just jumping forward like that? Because I don't think they should. The only thing that's being rotated is the flipper, and the only sprite that is inside the flipper is this one. These guys are not inside of the flipper. And they don't even have a flipper of their own that would flip them like that. Like rotate them 180 degrees. So why are they jumping forward? When are they jumping forward? It's whenever I turn around. Whenever I turn around, that shouldn't change your position. Like, I know that I have them inside a node called flipper, but that's not actually doing anything anymore. Why? It's okay. It's, yeah, because it's both now. Both of them are lurching forward, right? And where is that position that they're lurching forward to? No, they're not lurching forward. The right one is. The left one is actually just following from where it currently is. it's staying exactly in position. Okay, so if the only one that's lurching forward is the one that's on the back, it's in front of the guy but at the back of the sprite hierarchy, like the one that's showing up underneath every other, and that means that that's the only one that's having an issue. And that means that the only reason it's having an issue at all, it's because it is being rotated. It's because when this sprite is being rotated, the other one is being rotated along with it. And the reason it's being rotated along with it is because it's a child of it. And I can deal with that by storing its global position, which is what the flipper was doing, but it's not anymore because I'm not working off of a flipper anymore. So what I gotta do is the same thing, just store its global position. And then before I apply any positions and rotations modifications to it, make sure to restore its global position because it's been modified by the modification of the front hand. So like that. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, thank God. Okay, so now I should be able to have it so that the rotations work off of slurp instead of just being instant like that. So delta times idle slurp strength, and then the same for the other rotations. So point slurp like with a U, like that was disgusting. I'll never do that again in stream, I'm sorry. They should work, right? Like now that we don't have weird scales. I mean, kind of. It's still freaking out, it's just freaking out substantially less. Why is that? This feels like gimbal lock. This feels like there's no way that this isn't just gimbal lock. The problem is, I'm not sure how to deal with that in Godot. And besides, the body is not slurping like that, so it feels like, honestly, it probably looked better if it was just flipping instantly. But moving, delay. Right? Obviously all the other animations are now all weird because I haven't changed the position. This was all dealing with just the idle position. Not even animation, just the idle position. And it took me like an hour to figure out what was wrong. And I don't think I did. I don't think I did figure out what was wrong. I just changed shit until it worked. I probably was the scale. So what are these errors? What do these mean? Parameter p parent. What does that mean? I don't know what the parameter p parent is. Why is this erroring now all of a sudden? It certainly wasn't before, I would have noticed. It's when I grab something. I wouldn't notice if I was erroring every time I was grabbing something. Yeah, I have no idea. Ah, the sprite flipper. Yeah, because I don't have a sprite flipper anymore. Okay, well, that's fine. We can just forget about the sprite flipper. Yeah, we still have to make adjustments, obviously, because this is working janky as fuck now. But I mean, it didn't break anything else, it's just that the visuals look janky because they're only half implemented. Everything else is just working. Okay. Holy shit, that was tiring. That was fucking tiring. It was so tiring, in fact, that I'm going to end stream after doing that. Jesus. Yeah. Fuck. Sorry about that. Jesus. Well, hope you enjoyed hope you enjoyed watching me suffer through coding. It's been, honestly, to be honest, it's a bit refreshing because it hasn't happened in a while. It's all been oddly smooth sailing. So I'm glad to have one of these bad days so that I don't feel like I have a karmic debt that ought to be repaid. Because, you know, it kind of puts you on edge that, right? You're just kind of walking along the street and you see a car and you're like, oh, this is how I go. Like, oh, that good luck. Yep, this is how I pay for it. I die here. And now I know that it's not quite so bad, right? I have repaid at least a little bit of my karmic debt today. So, yeah. Do I have anybody that I can raid with my enormous 3-viewer audience? Not really. Alright, so I'm just gonna end the stream. Bye bye. See you later. Thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. I did? Kind of? By some definition of it.